Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my previous video, I explained to you how to set up a silver ribber machine, and for this video, I'm going to explain to you how to knit English rib. We have what we call the front panel and the back panel, and trust me, both panels are really beautiful, and I need you guys to stick with me. So I made a piece for myself late last year and I've been getting a lot of orders for it. Aside that, most times whenever I am knitting for a client, I love to use English rib. And the reason is because it has this advanced knit and I have been getting a lot of positive feedback. Now let's get back to work. I am going to use a short comb rather. You can use either a short comb or a long comb. Then I'm also going to use a scissors. Aside the scissors, I'm going to use 1x1 selector, very important. Then I am also going to use my needle. Now there is a special needle for a ribber machine. Whenever you get a ribber machine, please, they must add that needle for you. Then I'm going to also use hanging weight, very important. For this project, I'm going to also use the yarn for this project. To start with, you are going to see a ribber machine, a ribber flatbed carriage, and the main carriage for the ribber machine. So this is how it's going to look like on a silver machine, even on a broader machine or whichever ribber machine that you are using. It has to align. Now there is like a mini magnet. I'm going to open it for you to see. So there is like a mini magnet on your silver ribber machine and you need to press it because it has to align, which is very important. Now aside this, I am also going to I'll bring out some needles for you to see. So I'm just explaining. Now also, aside the needles, whatever tension you're using on your main flat bed, you have to use the same tension on the ribber to ribber carriage. So if I'm using tension 3 for the sleeve, I need to also switch it to tension 3 on the carriage. So they have to align. So it's going to be like 3 or 7 or 5 whichever one that you are using. You have to stick to it for the main carriage and the ribber carriage. Now I am going to now start, and to start with this project, I am going to bring out 45 pins. But before then, I want to explain all these little parts for you. Now this hand feeder that I'm removing, when you get your machine, it's going to be separate, so you have to be the one to attach it. The way you attach your normal hand feeder for your carriage on your flatbed is still the same way you attach this. This is for a ribber machine. If you are knitting a ribber machine, you need to attach it like this, then you will now press it, which is very important. So please, I advise you don't use the other hand feeder for it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to explain all the things that I'm going to be using. There's a way you will set your buttons on a silver ribber machine when you're knitting for a sleeve before I switch to the main English rib. Now I'm going to show you towards the end of the video on how I knitted the sleeve. And for the sleeve part, I knitted just 4 times before I switched to English rib. Now to start with, I'm going to use my selector to identify, let me say just 35 for example, or 40 just to make a sample, a swatch. Now when you bring out 40, let's use 40. Now when you bring out 40 on the flat bed, you need to also bring out 40 on the ribber machine. Now I'm going to bring out all the 40 needles, both sides, before we now alternate. So whenever you knit, most times it's advisable for you to alternate, like you always alternate one by one. But before you alternate, you just bring out, now there's like a number written on the main flatbed and on the ribber flatbed for you to identify the numbers. So as I said, you bring out 40 first. Once you bring out 40, you will now alternate one by one. So it has to be in, out, meaning if you bring out 1 on the flatbed, you need to also bring out 1 on the ribber. That's what I just explained now. Now this is what I'm doing. I said that you must alternate. You don't use all the needles whenever you are knitting a ribber work. You must alternate. So once you alternate on the main flatbed, you come to your ribber machine and also alternate. And most times, whenever I'm alternating, I start from the second one not the first one. If you want to start from the first one, it's still fine, but I love to start from the second one when alternating on the main flatbed and on the rubber machine. So now it has this in-out look. So whenever, and it's very important for you to also look at it whenever you are doing that. It has to be in, then out. Then the first thing is for you to pass the next step rather is for you to pass your yarn through the antenna, through the flatbed. Once you pass it through the flatbed, you will also pass it through. There is a way you will pass it, which I'm going to show you. So I'm just explaining. You guys know now, I always make like voiceover for my work. There is a way you will pass your yarn through the hand feeder for this rubber work. This is a needle, as I explained. It has 2 holes by both sides. So whichever one, and the hole is actually very big. So whichever one you want to use, once you pass it through the needle, there is a way you will pass it on the machine. It's different from the way you pass it from your flatbed if you are working only your flatbed. Now, and you are going to see like a round hole inside. I don't know if it will show here, but I tried to, I don't know. Okay, yes. There is a round hole inside. It has to pass through that hole. And once, we are just pointed now, you need to pass it inside. And once you pass it inside, you need to use your other hand to hold it underneath that's in between the flatbed and the rubber. That's once you pass it. So once you hold it, you are trying to get the strand of the yarn. And then you remove the needle. Once you get the strand of the yarn, you will now knit once. And please, when you're knitting, you have to be very careful so that it peaks. So if it doesn't peak, that means you did not set your needles very well. Now this is what I'm doing. You will knit once. After you knit once, you will now pass your comb in between the flatbed and the rubber. So as I said, just this 40-40, and this comb that I use is in between 50-50 because you're going to have like 2 combs. Now you're going to remove this exact pin I just removed, then pass it in between. You pass this comb in between the flatbed and the rubber machine. So it has to also come out. There's like a round hole on the comb rather. So you pass it inside and add the pin back. You add the pin. So you have to be very careful, like what I just showed you now. You pass it through the tiny hole on the comb. So the reason is because you are trying to grip both the ends of the flatbed and the rubber. And once you pass that, the tiny pin, once you pass it, like once you move it inside and you pass it, you will now use your hanging weight. Now you're going to see like a very big hole on the comb itself. You have like up to 5. So you make sure try your possible best to get a lot of hanging weight. Then you pass it. So you have to bend to pass it. So this will take a little while, but it's very, very important. It's step by step. This is the first part that you will do before you start knitting. The trick about a rubber outfit or while knitting is it requires a lot of hanging weight. You can't work without hanging weight because it needs to pull the piece very well. As you can see, I just did that now. I used like 4 to 5 hanging weights for this project. I used like 4 to 5. We are also working with 2 machines. One of the reasons why it's kind of heavy. So this is how you're going to add your hanging weight to the comb. Very, very important. So if you have a lot, please use it. As I said, the reason is because whenever you're knitting, you need a lot of hanging weight. After that step, the next step is to start knitting. Now I'm going to knit 4 times just for the sleeve. I'm going to show you at the end. Now I'm going to also explain to you how you set the buttons. For the buttons, both ends, the black buttons have to be there. As you can see, you need to see 1-1, and the silver knot by the side needs to be up, and the knot down has to be in the arrow part. So now I want to switch to English rib, meaning I first used tension 3.3, which I'm going to write in my comment section. Now for the English rib I'm switching on now, I used 7-7, meaning 7 on the flatbed, 7 on the ribber, and I moved it to U. Then I've left the first silver up, then I took the black one up, then I still left the other one down, and I moved the second silver down. So this is how we are going to set it, meaning the black knob will be up and you'll be seeing 0 while the other one will be down. You'll be seeing one, and the one by the right, the silver knob will also be down, and you move it to U. You're going to move it to U. That means we've switched to English rib, and I use tension 7.7. Then you start knitting to your desired length. Later on, I'm going to explain to you how to get the exact measurement for a ribber piece. So this is how you are going to knit. Then you keep knitting. So I knitted 100 times for the English rib, which you are going to see at the end of this video, and how I made a lot of outfits. Now, at first, what I did at first was I just knitted for the sleeve 4 times. After I knitted for the sleeve, I'm going to explain to you the way I set it for the sleeve is also different from the English rib. Now, this is the English rib. I've knitted 100 times. Then I'm going to also switch it back to the normal sleeve. That's the way I knitted the first sleeve. Now, I want to pay attention. Now, I'm going to move the knob by the left-hand side down, which I'm going to be seeing 1, 1. Then I'm going to move the silver knob by the right-hand side up. Then move it to arrow. That means I'm going to now knit 4 times to lock it. I'm knitting the way I said it from the first part is the same way I'm going to end it. I'm going to knit 4 times so that I'll be able to cast out very well. The reason is because I don't like to leave it on the English rib. If I leave it on the English rib, it will not knit well. I will not cast out well, rather. I won't cast out well. That's why I had to switch to how I started. Now that I am done, I am now going to, the next step is for you to move the ones on the ribber machine. You need to move them back to the flatbed using this pin. Now I explained to you that we have a special pin. Now you're going to move it, so you have to be careful. You put it inside. As I said, we have like 2 holes on it. Once you put it inside, you now move it to the flatbed. So you're going to do that on all the working stitches on the ribber machine. You are moving them back to the flatbed. That's those ones in position A. Those ones we did not work on. That is what I am doing now. So you move it from the ribber machine to the flatbed. That means I'm going to finish everything. You're going to do it on everything, meaning you've removed all the stitches on the ribber machine. Now they are now on the flatbed. Now that they are now on the flatbed, you just use your selector to just move it down. Then you are going to open the carriage. That's this brown hole that you're seeing. It's like a magnet on it. You're going to open it. So as I said, we're already done with the ribber machine. Then you will now bring it down 2 times. Where I just press that red part, you bring it 2 times. 1, 2, and you do it on the other side, to both sides, so you'll be able to cast out well. It is very, very important. The reason is because you need to cast out, and you don't want to have any issues, so you don't leave it up. Now I'm done with my ribber machine, working with my ribber machine. After that, you can now remove the hanging weight. You can, as I'm pointing, you can remove the hanging weight. You can also remove the comb because you're already done. Then you now cast out normally the way we cast out. And you guys know that I love to use long needle to cast out. As I said, at the end of this video, you're going to see how it looks like, how I started the first 4 before I switched to English rib, and now I ended with the last 4. So this is the back panel. The beauty of English rib, you can still even use the back panel. So this is the front panel. As I explained to you, it has this very advanced and puffy knit. So this is how it's going to look like. Once you are done, then you cast out. You guys know I'll gauge it into 2. Once I gauge it into 2, I cast out. Very, very easy. Just knit to your desired length. After that, I am now going to cast out. You're going to see the beauty of it once I am done. As I said, it is very, very easy to knit. So as you can see, this is how it's going to look like. This is the front and this is the back. You can also play with colors. You can also play with a lot of things. Like you can make different things with this English rib. And trust me, English rib is really, really beautiful. This video is not doing justice to it. Trust me, it's not doing justice to it. So whenever you are done, if you don't want to leave it down, you can still take it up 2 times. In case you want to knit another thing, you can take it up 2 times. Then you will just press it. It's also advisable for you to leave your machine like this. Very important. So this is it. I'm going to show you other ones that I made. I made like a lot of swatch. This is green. I also made like I made some in stripes, a lot. As you can see, I explained to you how I started with 4, then I did English rib, and I also ended with 4. Very beautiful, lovely design. I need you guys to try it and you will thank me later. I made a lot of swatch, and I also made a lot of turtleneck outfit I am yet to release. Also, I want you guys to try it out and also tag me once you're done. See you in my next video. Bye.